Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be with you. Here's another Spiritual Rockstar podcast. And we've got it just, oh my God, you guys, this guest will take you at quantum speeds that are going to just absolutely blow your mind in the best way. That's how I look at it. That's what my crystal ball tells me today. And so I'm absolutely adore our guest, Debora Wayne, and we're going to be introducing you formally to her in just a moment. Do you have a mysterious condition? Do you have mysterious things happening in your life? Do you have pain that won't go away? Do you have all these sorts of different things going on? Well, Debora is your person to listen to, because I think we've all gone through some weird stuff, especially these days. So she's going to be breaking it down for you. We're going to not only do the surface level, but we're going to go deep. So we're going to go deep, guys. You want to know what's really going on in the world, what's really going on with all this stuff? We're going to dive into some of that today. You're going to love it. It's going to help you break you free. And she's going to give you the practical stuff, of course, as well. All right. So we're going to get right into it in just a moment.
Want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate, Make Money meditation today.
Hi, Debora. So glad to have you here today.
Daniel, it's fabulous to be here. Thank you for having me. And I'm excited about our conversation.
Me too. Me too. Let's go ahead and let them know more about you. Now, Debora Wayne is the founder and CEO of the International Chronic Pain Institute. She is a world-renowned energy healer whose leading-edge non-drug method, known as HighSpeed Healing, has remotely helped tens of thousands in over 160 countries to rapidly release chronic pain, depression, anxiety, trauma, battles with weight, binge-eating, chronic fatigue, insomnia, mystery illness, basically whatever you got going on, right? So many other chronic conditions. A highly sought after speaker and #1 best-selling author of Why Do I Hurt? Debora has earned degrees and certifications in psychology, hypnotherapy. We share those two so far, all right? So, and chemical dependency counseling. Has 35 plus years in practicing and teaching meditation. Okay, I can see another little parallel. Is a nationally recognized glass artist and a former professional modern dancer. Definitely not me, though. Love dancing. Okay, certified yoga instructor. I'm nowhere near that level. And leads the Only Practitioner Training worldwide in a what's wrong today? Proprietary method. Oh, got it, I think. Okay, known as HighSpeed Healing, which is trademarked. So we definitely want to learn about that. What is this HighSpeed Healing? How is it going to make a bigger difference for you in your life? You need to know about it. So Debora, I'm just so glad again to have you here. Always like to have fun, as you can see. So, as we dance together here on this show, right? So it's just fascinating to get to know you just by going through the bio, because we met years ago, many years ago. We had brief encounters, brief connections. But for me, anyway, I don't know, may not be the same for you, but there's certain people you connect with, you're just like, oh yeah, I feel a real solid connection with that person. It's like, you don't know why, but you just do. So even though we didn't talk a lot, it just always kind of like, oh yeah, Debora Wayne, she's cool. I remembered you from those networks and different things that we were in, whatever it all was.
Very similar. I mean, we didn't talk a lot, but we had that. There's a depth that we recognized each other. And that's why I don't even know where all those years have gone. First of all, it just feels like the blink of an eye, but I feel like, oh yeah, Daniel, of course, there's a familiarity for sure.
Right. It's so fun. It's so interesting. I love when that happens. So Debora, tell us about what got you into all this. I usually like to start there. I mean, you've developed this very unique approach. And, usually what I find, like, I came up with the energy scan, technique, and trained, all these people in it and everything. And for me, it all came out of, well, it's a gift I have, but I was able to transfer knowledge to other people in doing it. But the things I do, and sharing that with people, ultimately come from a sense of pain that, I need to be, sharing this with the world. I need to bring this out into the world. And I'm guessing, and I seem to remember, you have a background with dealing with mysterious things and whatnot, and pains in your life. And I'd love to hear that story and how you created this high-speed healing stuff.
Yeah, that is it. So I'll take you back to the pivotal moment. It was over 30 years ago, and it was a regular Monday morning, and I had at that time a corporate job, and I was supposed to get up, get dressed, and go to work. But that day, I found myself lying on the floor of my big, beautiful walk-in closet, and I couldn't stop crying, and I couldn't get dressed, and I couldn't fake it till you make it one more day, and I was out of ideas. And I was in pain from head to toe. And it was physical pain, yes, but it was also emotional pain, severe. And I couldn't keep it together anymore. And that day, I was lying on the floor of the closet, and I looked up at the ceiling of the closet, and I screamed out to a God that I did not believe in at the time. I said, if there's anybody out there, please help me. And I'm here to tell you, I had a spiritually transformative experience that rocked my world. The entire closet engulfed me in this very real, very palpable feeling of unconditional love. It was such huge love that I had never felt before. And I felt deep inner peace. I immediately stopped crying. I heard everything is going to be okay. I got up. I went in the other room, I picked up the phone, and I called somebody and said, I need to talk. And I began, that was a crossroads for me. I mean, it felt like the worst day of my life, but it actually became the pivotal moment that has literally led me to be here with you today. I basically clean slated my life, started over from scratch. Everything changed. My home, my husband, my house, my career, my health, everything. And pretty much all at once on high speed, which was terrifying. And what I did that was the key was I started meditating, which I had learned when I was 15, but I stopped. And I started having a series of these incredible meditations where everything about quantum physics and the universe and how it works was revealed to me. Now, this is not a subject I was interested in the least. I had never read a book, an article, nothing, could care less about it. But all of a sudden, I'm not only feeling, but I'm knowing and seeing and hearing the whole room. Everything that's physical is vibrating. I'm understanding the essence of life and life force energy, and it's flowing through me. I feel it coming out my hands, and I hear, you have a mission here, and you're going to be first healing yourself and then helping other people. And again, this was not something on my to-do list, my goal list, my 90-day plan. It was like, I didn't want it, but I knew. And so slowly over time, I cleaned up my own inner world and outer world, and I began to step into the next chapter of my life. And it is literally what has enabled me to help people all over the world and find a deep sense of purpose that I never had before, and brings me here to laugh with you today.
Wow. So you were in a place of so it was in the midst. So you don't. I always wonder about that stuff. I'm like, if we break it down, like I always wonder if like we almost like asked. It's a deep question, right? But like it's almost like, were we almost yearning for it as a soul, and not just based on your pain, but your soul desires at that moment in time, right? Like Like, I'm just ready. I'm just ready. Just bring it to me. And you didn't, like at some level, like you're like, I'm ready for something crazy good to happen, or what. I don't know how you might have asked, but like something happened, and then this thing comes in. It seems like it came out of nowhere, but I always wonder, like, usually when I try to retrace my steps, I can find how I asked for it into my life, whatever it is, whether it's like I got sick, like I was mentioning earlier, I recently got a virus or whatever. And I'm like, I could see exactly how I created that for myself. I'm like, oh, I see how I did that, right? Or if it's something that seems more fortuitous, like, like everything's fortuitous if you look at it through the proper lens, but like, okay, how did this come into my life? Were there things that were going on when you think about it that help lead you to that moment? I ask because there's other people out there, other spiritual rock stars on the rise, that maybe if they understand, like, man, if you're just patient, if you just listen, if you just whatever, like little pointers to help people to have those kind of breakthroughs.
Absolutamente. So everything, when I look back, every piece of my life, every choice, every decision, everything had been leading and building one thing upon the other. There was no accident to any of this. And I knew very well that several years prior to all this, I made a major decision that was not wise. Now, it was perfect, but it was not going to lead me to joy and inspiration and purpose. And sometimes you have to step off the track to find out there was a track. And I stepped off in a big way based on my childhood conditioning, which I had never examined. I just followed it. I was taught A plus B equals happiness, followed it, and it didn't work for me, which truthfully, in hindsight, I should have known, because I knew at a very young age that I danced to a different drummer. I had very strong intuition, very strong creativity, very expanded sense of life and life force, beyond what my family taught me. But at some point, for different reasons, I chose to follow the formula, let's put it that way, that I had been taught. And I think I needed to. And today now it enables me to relate to so many more people that I would never have related to, and can help them because I stepped into a universe that wasn't for my highest good in one sense of the word, but really was, because now I learned from it. And everything happens for a reason. It just doesn't always mean it's going to happen for a happy, joyous reason, but it's happening for your highest good.
Yeah, I just think even at a minimum, like just to give people hope, like, your big breakthrough could happen at any moment. I mean, I think about, people in my life, they're like, when's it going to be over? When's this going to, all the suffering going to end? And I'm always like, listen, it could end at any time. You just don't know. Don't give up. Don't give in and give all your power away, in a sense, to the condition, because the truth is it can change at any moment, but you have to, we talked about this before the show, right? We have to quit fighting up against it so hard. We're taught to fight everything, but like sometimes we have to let go and give ourselves to where we are. And then, the forces of healing can come in, and awakening, whatever, all those different forces can land then, because you're not pushing up against it, still saying, no, like, let the blessing in.
That is exactly it. And the closet crisis that I had was the deepest surrender I'd ever had. And that surrender is why I got the burning bush, because there was nothing left in me that thought, oh, I know what to do. I'm going to figure this out and it's going to go my way. And I finally just, like, that was it. It was over. And that opened me to what was for my highest and best good, that I had been trying to control and that I had been pushing against. Just like you said, that is the key. I was a pusher. And I would push and push and resist instead of being open to really allowing life to flow. And a lot of people do this, and it is the formula for pain, guarantees it.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. So yeah, definitely. I mean, that's I think where it comes from, right? All the pain we have at some level, we're pushing up against something, right? So so let's talk about that. So people might be listening, they have anxiety, the depression, they have health problems, they have whatever, they have something, they have no clue what it is. I don't know, I've got this condition in my body, and some days I've got a pain in my back, then it goes to my legs, then it goes to my toes, and it comes up to my fingers, and the next day it's this, and then that lasts for a few months, and it then or it's one thing after another or whatever. Like first my relationship, then all my money went, then this and then that, and they can't figure it out. Or like, what's happened? What am I cursed? So
Yes.
right, people
Yes,
think that.
exactly what they think, what they do. That's exactly it. I hear that story every single day.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the truth about all that? I mean, we started getting into it. So what is really the you got all this it's interesting. I was similar again with the energy scan technique was downloaded to me, the way that I do my tuning in. But so you got all this downloaded into you. What can you say, like, really is the truth for people that feel like, man, I can't break free of this life that's seemed to happen to me,
Yeah. So what's happening is that they are viewing through a very limited lens, and they are looking typically at one thing, which is physical only. And they're not looking deep enough to the deeper hidden precursor to everything that shows up in the physical, whether it's the physical body or your finances or your romances, all the physical stuff. That is the effect, not the cause. It's the effect, not the cause. But we live in a world where all the conventional thinking has said, where does it hurt? Let's cut it out, drug it out. Let's do this, do that, to try to fix the physical 3D. We're looking in the wrong place. The invisible world is as real, if not more real, than the physical realm. And the invisible is the precursor to the physical, subtle energy. Invisible, subtle energetics is where we must look first, because that's what's flowing into and literally becoming the physical. So what do I mean by that? It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. Thoughts and emotions, which are going on 24/7, are subtle energy. And most people do not take the time to listen to and work with and recalibrate their thoughts, their belief systems, their habits of thinking. And the habits of thought generate emotions, and these emotions are like putting gas in the car, and they emit frequencies. And we know that energy and vibration and frequency is everything. And those frequencies are impacting every area of our lives, yes, including our physical body, your actual bone structure, and every organ in the body, your immune system, your nervous system. So we're looking in the wrong place. We're resisting the very things that are showing up on top of all that. And then we're saying, well, I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out, because we're not looking in the right place and doing the right thing to try to change it.
Yeah, it's interesting that people say that, right? We all do it. We all do it. I mean, any one of us, even those of us that know better.
Yes. It's the first thing you hear. Oh, I can't figure it out. I've been trying to figure this out. I've been trying to figure this out for a decade. Why can't I figure it out? And like you said, and then people start to, they go to Dr. Google, they start researching everything, they look for intellectual understanding, and then they start to feel like, what's wrong with me? Is it my karma? Am I cursed? And then they get all bogged down with that whole train of thought. And before you know it, they've actually added energy to the very thing they're trying to get rid of.
Okay.
Guarantees it will never leave.
Yeah, that's so true. definitely I'll have a referral or two for you by the time we're done here. So, oh man, so yeah, I mean, we've heard, so what people have heard probably before is, oh, it's your thoughts, it's your emotions, and all. Then they're like, okay, which thoughts, which emotions? So then they try to figure that out, right? So, okay, good, let's figure that out, right? There is a figuring out, isn't there, in this? And so is it figuring it out, or is there something a little bit different about how you have people, or you just heal it? Like, yeah, you don't have to figure it out anymore. Just super fast healing. We're done. Like, what's your approach?
So my approach is multifaceted, is not one size fits all, but oftentimes, yes, there's a third area, and that's the energy field which surrounds the body. And the method that I practice often does seem like a magic wand, and without talking or analyzing or figuring anything out, I can literally go into that field and I can sense, I can feel with my hands, and we're talking remotely at a distance, anywhere in the world, and I can feel where there are disturbances, because your energy field is like a recording device. It's recorded everything that's ever happened to you. And you may not, you could talk till you're blue in the face and not find it because you can't remember. And nor do you need to. What has to happen is we change the vibrational frequency of the patterns in your energy field that are actually showing up in your physical body and your physical life. That is the first thing and the fastest, safest way to change. However, if I don't teach people the self-care tools so that they can look and recognize their habits of thought and their dysfunctional habits of emotion, then they bring back the very thing that I high speed away. So I learned over the years, I really like a three-pronged approach: energy field, mind, emotions. We don't even worry about the body. I'm a yoga teacher. I don't even usually teach people anything physical, but it happens naturally and organically as a result if we look at the invisible realm first.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Cool. So you're able to, work with the field. Do you tell them like, oh, so you do like a clear, like some healers might do like a clearing, and then they're like, if their clients are curious, like, well, what did you do? Like, well, I cleared this implant, this dark entity or whatever. That's what was messing things up, and now you should be better. And so is it sort of along those lines, or is it, I don't want you to give away your secret sauce or whatever. I'm just kind of curious how that process works with you.
So first of all, I don't give a reading.
Okay.
I don't, even though I do sometimes get information, unless I'm very guided to share that information, it's more important what they experience.
Yeah.
What I do is I help people discover they will have an inner experience while I'm working on them. And I draw out of them so they begin to learn and trust that their answers are inside of them. There's tons of information available to them that typically they're not either noticing, or they're saying, oh, I just made that up, I just imagined that, or oh, because most people are so externally focused. They haven't spent any time or had any teachers helping them discover the inner information, the inner technology that we're all hardwired with in our DNA. So I prefer to go there with people after I work on them. But what I will say is that it's not a technique that I provide. It's a state of consciousness that I'm able to instantly embrace. And it's directly connected to source, and I'm able to bring in the entire bandwidth of healing frequencies. And then this is all based on physics. They will resonate with whatever frequencies they need. And it starts to literally communicate with the cells of the body. The whole energy field starts to change vibration. People often start moving. Some people flip and flop like a fish. Their whole body changes the vibrational pattern. Some people have the experience where they go, wow, I like lost sense of my whole body. I felt like I was everywhere. They have cosmic experiences, which are really cool, multi-dimensional experiences many times. These are regular people who don't meditate, people who don't talk like this.
Right.
And that's what's so exciting. I'm not trying to convince them. They're having these experiences. Some people say, Oh, that was relaxing.
Right, right.
You don't have very profound Hollywood moments, but they have an experience. And so I give them a leg up to a different vibrational frequency state of consciousness that they haven't been able to access on their own. And once I do this enough, and for some people, enough is one time. Most people need 3 or 4, or I'd say 4 to 6 sessions typically
Mhm.
to hold and sustain a new pattern and start to recognize what they are doing that contributes to the old pattern that they're trying to get rid of.
Mhm.
Makes
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, so cool. How is this different than Reiki and all these different the matrix technique or that technique? Or I don't want to, I almost don't want to name anyone because I'm not trying to, demean any of them. But just how is it different, from your viewpoint?
So I was one of the early Reiki practitioners in the early 80s, and Reiki and many other techniques that are out there, they are literally a technique. You learn with Reiki 26 points that you touch on the body, certain symbols you imagine, and you do it the same on every single person. What I provide is not that at all. Um, I have worked on myself enough and cleared out enough of the conditioning that I received in my early childhood and beyond so that I can get pretty darn quiet. And I'm not here to make anything happen or decide what you need or send you light or take stuff away. I don't do any of that. I literally am just being myself, and the frequencies that I carry in my field that I use my hands a lot, which is interesting when you look back at my life. What you asked me earlier, I was a ceramic artist, a glass artist, a dancer. I have used my hands since the 4 years old. And I became very, very sensitive. So I can use my hands to scan a person's energy field and feel where there are disturbances in their field. And then I literally start to interact vibrationally with their field. And it's different for every person. And the sensations that I experience are different from every person. And I also can work with a group of unlimited size, and everyone gets individual results. And this is all based on the fact that we form a collective consciousness, a collective field. And it's like I'm working on one, even when I work with one person, I work on one person, but I'm working on all the cells of the body form the collective field. So it's not a technique, it's a state of consciousness. I'm connected to this 24/7. Sometimes people have a spontaneous experience. I don't need to be doing a formal session. Quick funny story, I'm flying back from Hawaii once. The gentleman sitting next to me, chit-chatting, "What do you do?" And I started to, share with him, and his food arrived. He picks up his drink, puts his drink down, and he went into a very deep, what I would call, I'm sure if we had put a brain map on him, we would see he was probably um, in a complete somnambulistic trance. And he stayed there for an hour and a half. I did nothing, but I felt this tremendous flow coming out of me. And I did scan his field after I saw what was happening to see what was going on. And I could sense he had heart issues. And I did not know if that meant physical or emotional or both. Usually it means both. And finally, when he came out and he was grinning from ear to ear, he looked at me and he said, "I don't know who you are or what you just did, but I have had 6 heart bypass surgeries. I now know why I had the condition. I now know I no longer have the condition, that I will never have the condition again, and that whatever you just did was the reason for that. And I love you." You know, it was just his time. And it was a spontaneous, what I call a divine appointment that happened without me formally doing a thing. So there's different ways this transpires. Yes, it happens, on purpose. When
Mhm.
I decide to do it and facilitate this, but it happens. Some people go to my website or hear my voice, or, I've had it on dates where I was not expecting it to happen. So, I mean, there's a higher purpose to all of this. I don't feel in charge of all of it. I just know what my purpose is, and I say, use me, God. I'm here to be of service.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like sort of the Jesus sort of phenomena, right? Like you just kind of walk by and like, oh wow, I got this big experience, because it's the state of energy and consciousness that he was walking in, right? So to me, that's always like the higher healing state. I've led classes like this before over a whole year. Like, how do you get into that level and state? And where it's not always technique necessarily, but it's the state of energy that you're in, right? So we can use techniques if you want to, right? But that you've got it to where you are just at that higher vibrational level. So would you say, I'm just curious then, I was get a little bit deeper on this. Would you say it's really that, I don't know, maybe it's just all concepts the mind wants to get fascinated with this, but it's fun to get into. So do you feel like it's just source energy sort of thing, or is it being connected with multidimensional realms, ETs, or whatever? Like, do you feel like all that's a part of the mix for you in your case, or what's your perception of all that sort of stuff? Yeah.
Great, very fascinating question that I've spent much time pondering. I think it is all of the above. And what I've witnessed is that, well, first of all, when you get beyond a certain dimension, it's all oneness. It's not separation. Only we lovely humans like to separate everything out and say, well, it's God, it's Jesus, it's Buddha, it's the ET. Like, we're obsessed with who is it? And we make everything in a human form. It is not like that after a certain level. It is consciousness. And consciousness takes whatever form it needs to get the job done. And so when I work on people, if they, for example, are Buddhist, often Buddha will show up for them. For some people who are agnostic, atheists, you don't have to have a concept of God even. It could be their dead Aunt Mary that shows up, because that has meaning for them. Many people see geometry, geometric mandalas and shapes and spinning forms and colors and lights. They are having a multidimensional experience, but it's not humanoid in any way. It's very geometric. Many people do have angels and Jesus and other beings show up. But and some people who are into ETs, they feel ET beings show up. I think it is all of the above. I'm open to all of the above. I believe all of the above exists, and all of the above has purpose and meaning, but I don't decide. It's fascinating to me. It's why I never get bored, because they will tell me afterwards who and what they experienced. And then I help them make peace with that or interpret that in a way that gives it meaning for them, without telling them. They discover what it means. And
Yeah.
I just nurture that conversation so that they don't say, well, that was weird, because it's not weird. It's actually available to us all the time, but we live in such a limited world where we've learned the only thing that's real is what I can touch. This is so not true. So it's wide open to a vast range of interesting, fascinating, fun experiences. And I have regular people. I'll never forget one of the first early ones in my practice. A woman had come to me. She had had fibromyalgia and arthritis pain for decades. And in the very first session, she walked out completely pain-free, and she was just on cloud nine. She dragged every one of her family members into this is years ago when I had an office, and her husband, who owned a construction company, who didn't want to come in for this, but he had COPD, which is a breathing disorder, and it was affecting everything. And but you know, he gets on my massage table and he looks at me as, well, my wife made me do this. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm not here to convince you of anything. You'll have an experience. We'll talk about it and we'll go from there. And you know, I'm not going to force you to come back. We get done with his session. And I said, so what did you notice? He said, and I quote, I was traveling at faster than the speed of light through a tunnel that looked like I was moving through space. I could see stars and planets and all kinds of things. He said it was incredible. I've never had anything like this happen before. And he said, and then I realized, wow, my lungs opened up. I was breathing deeper than I ever had before. I let go of a ton of fear that I didn't know I have. Now, this man didn't talk like this. There's no reason for him to make this up. And
Mhm.
I'm a big fan and obviously, you know, had a lot of healing take place. So I don't determine who has what type of experience. He needed that type of experience and he got it.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's fascinating. So my thought is like, because I like to break these things down. It's just what I do. But like, you're carrying the intentional field that whatever big experiences they need to have, let them have them. You know, like.
And I should say, because I'm sure this happens to you too, some people come and many of them are healing practitioners and they come and they want me to work with them for different reasons. And they're having an expectation of having some galactic, incredible, life-changing experience, and they don't.
Right.
I always find that very fascinating that, you know, our expectations really can get in the way and
Mhm.
that we need to just be open to what happens and not decide what should happen for me because of XYZ that I've learned or experienced. It's just so interesting.
Well,
And
that's important, isn't it? Because what you just said, somebody might be like, I want to have experiences like that. Then, you know, it's the usual chasing kind of thing. They're at a seeker. And I got to have it. Jesus needs to come and this one needs to come. Yeah, they get more attached to it in that way. So I have another question then. This is one that I had coming into this around all this. So some people do, they believe in hey, we've got dark entities, you know, there's all these different things going on. There's the dark ETs, maybe even, or something, you know, whatever, you know. I'm just wondering what your take is on those things. You believe these are actual frequencies that are getting caught up in people's fields that maybe they didn't bring to, you know, the idea of LOA and stuff like that, like, oh, you brought it to, you know, your own perception, your own thought. Some people don't believe that with some of the things they deal with. They're like, no, I don't know, it just got into my field, is how I feel about it. I didn't bring it to me, and it's just some dark entity dropped right into me, or says ET or whatever. And I'm wondering what your take is on that.
so it's all light, but there's light, and there's dark light.
Mm.
And unless we are resonating with a particular frequency, it will not come into our field. So I'm sorry to say, there are people who say the same thing to me, and it doesn't just happen.
Mhm.
Uh, there are parts of ourselves we judge and don't want to acknowledge. And we all have what's often referred to as a shadow side. And we have to work on that because we will resonate. And it has experiences attached to it.
Mhm.
Now, um, I'm not a fan of, you know, the victim mentality. I don't think we are a victim in any way, but I also think we're very unconscious of a lot of things. And we are not necessarily open to ideas that scare us. And so people will try to block that out or protect themselves from it. But actually what they're doing is ignoring something very important that needs to be explored so that you have awareness, because awareness is everything. And when you're aware, you can change things and you take your power back. And otherwise, we unnecessarily and unknowingly give our power away all the time, unknowingly. And so any type of suppression, repression, denying, pretending, oh, this causes problems.
Mhm.
Everything exists Everything exists. Everything you could possibly imagine exists. If you can imagine it, it exists. So does that mean you should be afraid of it? No. Does that mean you need to protect yourself? No. It means you need to acknowledge and keep your vibration and your consciousness where you want it to be, so that you have a great chance of experiencing what you would prefer to experience. And the key to that is love. Love is the key to everything, to keep your vibration in as high of a state of love and joy and peace. And that means you can't be going around judging everybody as bad. They are, yes, acting out a different, I look at it like Halloween. On Halloween, some people are really into it, and they get so into their costume that it could be your best friend and you don't even recognize them. And what we need to do in our world is see past the costume and remember who they really are, and not get lost in the costume and in the emotions and the reactions to the costumes, and see them who they really are. Because otherwise you're going to be afraid a lot, and there's no need to be afraid. You need to rise up above the level of all that fear consciousness and see it all, just see it all, and know it's possible.
Mhm. It's amazing how fearful we can become. And and I have a fun, quick story you mentioned with that. I remember putting on, I was in grad school. I think it was actually Halloween, or there's a Halloween party going on or something we were going to do. And I did the robber. I had the hat on and everything. And so I decided to really get into it, like act like I'm sneaking around outside the apartment complex. And they're like, all of a sudden someone says, look, there's some guy like creeping around down there. And I'm messing around. It's Halloween, like because the way I was acting, I tend to be that actor guy, right? Like I can go into that and like all of a sudden they're convinced, like maybe, oh my God, that might be for real. Look at you, the way he's acting and the way he's moving, and it might be actually real. And it's like, yeah, and that's what we do a lot. Like we have these ideas, and a lot of times it's not even what we're perceiving in the first place, much as so it is. I think that was an awesome way to put it, like that. People aren't constant. I always tell people, hey, the so-called dark players on the planet, they got a job too. Why aren't you giving them love? I mean, like they're perfectly playing the role. I mean, the so-called dark players of the world, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to do what they're doing right now. They're doing their part. So don't judge them. Stop the judgment. That's only going to hurt you. So.
And what you said earlier, if you push against that, they push back harder. This is science. For every force, there's an equal and opposite force. The pushback, I'm not saying pretend everything's fine. I'm not saying don't stand up for what you believe. Don't create and take action in your life for what you want to create. We need to do that. It's not lay back and just like let it, whatever happens, happen. But the pushback, the judgment, that feeds energy into the very thing you're trying to get rid of. And that is not the answer. And the protection of what? Are you trying to protect one arm from the other? You need both.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all, if you recognize there's one power. It's a belief in two powers that causes the problem. So if you believe in two powers, then you need to create a war over that disease or a power greater than that power. And that's where we get lost.
Mm-hmm.
There's one power, not two.
Yeah.
So when you fight that other thing that you're giving your power to, you might as well give up, because you're leaking your own power and you've separated yourself from the source of the one.
I suppose that's the definition of ego, the belief in another power, right? In a sort sense. Anyway, we could really go further and deeper here. One of my other questions, as we're starting to wrap things up a little bit, tiny bit, although there's so much more to cover, is that I'm wondering, like, is this something like that you actually help people to, do this as well? I mean, do you help people to do the kind of healing you do as well?
I do. I've trained about 250 practitioners. I've trained everyone from an 8-year-old boy to an 80-year-old man and everybody in between. And everyone can learn to do this. Yes. And it's really quite incredible to watch the transformation that happens when people recognize who they are, what they're capable of. Going through the course that I teach is totally experiential. It's not left brain linear. You don't read and memorize and spit it back out. And so it will bring up your deepest fears. It will bring up your questions. And that's what it needs to do. And it will shake you up. And then when the dust settles, you will be in a deeper, more solid place than ever before. And people get very activated to what's possible. I do believe it's activating dormant DNA. And when people, I work on them as well in the course. And so their physiology gets prepared for them to handle frequencies. And people don't get more than they can handle. I've even seen in my own life and in my practice that over time, I've changed. I've been able to bring in higher vibrational frequencies. My sessions got shorter and shorter. Less time was needed, and the cases that came were tougher and tougher. And I got what I was ready to handle as time has gone on. So this is possible for everyone, and it is a gift, but we all can access the gift. We're all on equal playing ground here.
Hmm, fascinating. So that's amazing. How is there a way for people to get, I don't know how much time you need to like give people even a slight bit of taste of what it might be like to get a session with you? Do we have a little bit of time for that today? We'd love to experience some of that.
I would love to. I can do a very short little demo here, and I find all the time in even recordings like this, a short demo, people often have very strong healing experiences. It gets the vibrational frequency flowing. Some people will have healing go on for a day or two, even from a short demo. So yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm excited. Let's do it. Okay.
So if you're watching or listening, make sure you're in a safe space, sitting down, or even better, lying down, and just close your beautiful eyes. And I want you to take the deepest breath you've taken all day so far. Fill up, 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 and then open your mouth and let out a sigh and let everything we've been talking about go. Relax your low belly, breathe into your low belly and draw that breath up, up, up into your beautiful heart. And then open your mouth and let out a big sigh and exaggerate your exhale. Again, relax your low belly. Draw the breath up, up, up. And then open your mouth and let it all go. Now, as you continue to breathe, just breathe normally, naturally, easily, effortlessly, in and out through your nose, the way you normally breathe. And I want you to remember to let me do all the work. Do not try to help me here. There's nothing for you to do or make happen or analyze or figure out. You don't have to understand one thing with your mind for this to work. I want you to observe what you notice happening in your inner experience. And I want you to observe without trying to stop anything, change anything, fix anything, or figure anything out. Let me do the work. I want you to remember to let your body move. If it starts moving involuntarily, or if you have the urge to move in any way at any time during the demo, Follow the urge to move, or just let your body move as much as it wants to. As you listen inside, you may begin to notice different sounds, voices, words, music, tones. It may or may not happen, but if it does, listen to the sounds. You may begin to see colors, shapes, images, something visual. It may or may not happen, but if it does, I want you to look at it, even if it makes no sense to you. You may begin to notice different sensations in your body or around your body. Allow yourself to experience those sensations, even if it's uncomfortable. You may notice pressure in your head. That's very normal. You're feeling the frequencies. You may notice the temperature change. You may get very cold or very hot or both together. You may even have pain of some kind come up. Physical pain, emotional pain. I want you to let it come up. And remember, it's just energy. It's your energy pattern and it's coming up and moving out. I want you to let it come up. Let whatever comes up come up without trying to stop it or change it or analyzing it. And without judging anything as bad or wrong. Just allow whatever is happening to happen. Let me do the work. And we'll talk about this after. You may notice memories flashing across your mind. You may have thoughts come into your mind, maybe a lot of thoughts, maybe thoughts you don't like. That's okay. Let it happen. Energy is moving up and out. You may have emotions come up. I want you to let them come up. Even if you don't like them, even if it's uncomfortable, allow any feelings that come up to come up. It's just energy. Do your best to relax and soften into this. There's nothing to resist or fix or figure out. Now, if it gets really quiet inside you and it seems like nothing's happening, that's okay too. Sometimes that's exactly what will happen. You will get the experience you need, even in a short demo. If you think you're making things up and imagining it, that's okay too. Just notice that's what you're thinking. You literally cannot do this wrong, and you cannot block the healing frequencies. So relax your mind. Notice what's happening like you're at the movies and you're watching, you're listening, and you're feeling, but you're not trying to change the movie. Now we're going to take 1 full minute of complete and total silence. I'll be right here continuing to work on you quietly. And when it's time to come back, you'll hear my voice. You'll know what to do. It will be very easy. And you may find yourself dropping very deep. Just let that happen if it does. Remember, there's no right or wrong. And what you experience is perfect for you today. So here we go into the silence. Enjoy. Now, very, very slowly now, become aware of the sound of my voice and all the sounds around you. And begin now to deepen your breathing and feel yourself becoming more alert, more awake, more aware, and staying very, very relaxed. Take a deep, long breath in and out now. Feel yourself becoming more awake, more aware, more alert. Start to wiggle and move your fingers, hands, and toes as you take another deep breath in and out now. And come all the way back, wide awake, alert, refreshed, and relaxed as you slowly, gently open your eyes, coming all the way back now. Take your time, no rush. And make sure you don't just jump right up and move. Take it slow, slow, slow. All the way back now. And when you go to sit up or take your time, sit first before you stand. If you feel really tired, it's probably because the session's going to go on longer and you may want to lie back down. And if you feel a lot of pressure in your head, you're feeling the frequencies and the cake is still baking. So lie back down if you're able to, and know that this is going to continue, and often more benefits happen after the session than during. And many people over the next 24 to 48 hours, many of you will have experiences. Remember, with real healing, what needs to come up comes up and moves out. It's not symptom suppression here. So some of you may even have full detox symptoms happening, or pain that you've been having, or different symptoms may actually seem to be worse. That's actually a sign of healing. So I don't want you to be alarmed by that. It doesn't happen for everyone, but it happens to a lot of people. What needs to come up and purge will come up and move out. So really listen to your body. Rest if you feel tired. If you got the 10 cups of coffee energy boost, which happens to a lot of people, go and do, but don't overdo it. Just be gentle the next 24 hours. And if, of course, anything concerns you, you can reach out to Daniel or myself, and we're happy to help.
That's great, Deborah. Thank you so much. So much. I won't share fully what was happening on my end, but I'll just say I felt something a little bit different maybe than I've ever felt before. For sure, it's like there's a pulsing energy coming into my field. I noticed. I've noticed that about you before, that you bring that signature anyway. So I was just like, oh, there it is. So that was really fun. And then yeah, it was like a movie. What came up for me, I'll just say that it was like a movie, and layers of energy. So most of it that I've kind of seen sort of before, but it unfolded in a sort of different way, right? Like it is opened up a lot of space, right? A lot of space, a lot of energy, where energy maybe was trapped, fighting against something. Just let go. So you helped really by setting it up too, by saying, just let it happen, don't try to get too mentally involved now. So that was really helpful to let that experience be more powerful. So it was really, really potent stuff, as promised. Very good. Thank you.
Fascinating how many, particularly people like yourself who are not new to the world of consciousness and healing, the first words they say to me is, wow, Deborah, that was different. That felt different. And so there's some type of, like you said, signature that you're perceiving, that people are perceiving, that when they compare it to other things they've done, they recognize a difference. It's fascinating to me. Wow, very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool stuff, and look forward to people probably play this back again and again, like a lot of your healings, right? So let's experience more. So it's a lot of fun. So I know that people are probably still integrating. If you are, feel free to pause your recording wherever you are. No problem. Probably should have told you not to listen while you're driving and all that good stuff. Maybe I'll try to remember that the next time, and all those disclaimers. Yeah, so whatever your experience is, perfect. I know you had you have a place for people to go if they want to get more support for free. So I was hoping that while I continue to go, I'm just going to ground real quick here, that you go ahead and share that with them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Everybody, please come to internationalcpi.com. That is the website where you'll find all the services I offer. You'll also be able to download a free copy, a digital copy of my best-selling book, Why Do I Still Hurt, which goes deeper into the conversation of why you might feel stuck and blocked and like nothing heals no matter what you try. This is for you. And you'll also be invited to a free live call, group call. And there's opportunities to ask me further questions and receive more help. So if you would like more help, you'll find the different services there. We answer every email, so feel free if you have questions, but it would be an honor to serve you. So please visit the website, and there's interesting information there as well, videos and testimonials that are pretty wild that you might find fascinating too. So thank you, Daniel, so much. And everybody who's been listening, it's just a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so you can, we'll put it in the show notes, and you can go to internationalcpi.com/free gifts, internationalcpi.com/free gifts. Yeah, and if you really want to get more support directly from Debora, did you want to let them know how you could really contact you directly? You put this here in the notes. Is that okay to share with them?
Absolutely, it is.
Okay, so you can contact her at 858-755-0883. No need to wait. Call 858-755-0883. So I'll say one more time in case you're as fuzzy as I am at times here. 858-755-0883. You can call Debora directly, and she'll be happy to get you set up with some more support, whatever that looks like for you, or just connect with you. So. So Debora, yeah, there was time of the show where I like to do my quick tune-ins on my guests. We've been tuning in all along, but I like to do my fun little tune-ins with my guests, see what source has to share. So would you like to receive?
Oh my God, absolutely.
Okay, let's see. It's always fun to see. Sometimes it's simple basics. Sometimes it's something, who knows, but we'll see. Yeah, so it's sort of this tree of, instead of tree of life, I'm seeing more of a tree of light. And so on that tree of, with light, it's just a sense of one light illuminates another light, that, and it's like it keeps spreading out, right? So it's like that interconnection. And so there is showing me that, and I'm not getting any other big meaning on it yet, but they're just showing me that phenomena right now. Let's see what else comes through though on that. I mean, of course, it does make me think of the Cabal and all this stuff. Let's see what else is going on. Something about not forgetting your ET origins, like I was mentioning earlier to you, that I I gave you some sort of message around this in the past. Okay, let's see, what do they want you to know about that though? There's like a pulsing energy that, like I said, that pulsing energy I find within you. Well, they say you don't need technique, but you can definitely utilize that pulse. Even with just a light little extra touch sometimes can be helpful. So if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's see what else is coming through. I don't know if you have the one book or multiple books already, I forget, but I'm seeing like 10 books, and then I'm definitely getting the Oprah vibes. Now I'm guessing you've heard this before, because that's a vibe I get on it too. So there's something about that. It could be, maybe it's that super soul stuff, but I think like there definitely is an opportunity for you to be known a lot more than you already are. And let's see, what do they want you to know about that? This seems important to just take a moment on. I just keep hearing prepare. So how do you want? Okay, let's get a detail on that. Prepare. Okay. Okay. So it's more on the physical level, getting ready for such things. I'm hearing like on a physical level in maybe your business, but I don't hear like you're not ready for it on it so much on like the other levels of your being. Like you seem to be like you could be ready for it, but the physical is more where we need some more attention. Okay, so I don't want to go too long. Just share a few things and kind of see what might have resonated, or yeah.
Wow, it all resonates, every word. So interestingly enough, so trees have always been, without a doubt, beings. I consider them to be very high beings, and I have always had a deep connection with trees. And the Kabbalah has been on my radar lately more than ever. And this Oprah thing has come up time and time again. I'm ready for you, Oprah. I could tomorrow. Just call me. I would say yes. Anybody who's out there that knows Oprah, please, I am so ready. But you're absolutely right. So I had some changes in my team and other things, and that, the influx that happens after you're on Oprah is probably very overwhelming for most people. So that's so interesting, but bring it on. Bring it. That's all I can say. I am so ready, willing, and able. And that was very fun. Very cool.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to share with you. And everybody, if you want to check me out, go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get the Meditate Make Money meditation. That definitely helps open up your frequencies and your chakras, and just puts you in these mystical states there as well, to, in this case, with money. And something just turns on that people report that actually listen to it on a regular basis. So start seeing new money come into your life. So go ahead and check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. And there's definitely the opportunities to to get energy scanning from me and support there on the website as well. So yoursacredpurpose.com. All right. So Deborah, this has been just so amazing. I am just absolutely very, very happy for who you are, and what you're up to is really extraordinary. So thank you for coming on the show today.
You so much. What a pleasure. Really. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to all the listeners. Keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Goodbye for now. Listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.